Hello friends, welcome to the Tech Granth. Whenever you are designing a system, one question always pops up, like which database you are going to use for your system or for your application. So in this particular video, we are going to discuss about that, and I will also guide you through a common mistake that anyone can make while going through a system design interview round. So the content of this particular video will be, I will first go around with the categories of databases which are present currently. I will give a brief use case of each of the category where you can use that particular category of database in which kind of application. Then I will cover the common mistake that we generally make when we are in a coding interview or sorry, a system design interview, and we come up with a prompt answer about the database which we are going to use for our application. And finally, we'll discuss about which database should I use for my application. So in this particular point, we will go into the detail and we will also bring in the CAP theorem. So let's first look at the categories of the database. In general, database is divided into two broad categories. The first one is RDBMS. Now RDBMS deals with the data which is structured in their way, which means that there is a fixed schema. What it means that if some data is coming to your table, so in case of RDBMS, there will be a table which will have multiple columns. So your data will go as part of the row, and the property of each row will be defined by the column. So columns basically defines an attribute. For example, if you have an employee table, so you can have a column like employee name, employee ID, employee address, all those things. So that is how you fix the schema of your data which is going to come into your system. So that kind of data is what RDBMS deals with. Now the biggest strength of RDBMS is that it follows the ACID property. What ACID property is, it should, the data or the transaction that is going to happen on the data, it will be atomic. All the transactions will be really consistent. It will be hard consistent. All the transaction that will happen, it will be isolated from each another, and the data that we will have will be durable. So that is what ACID means, and RDBMS will strictly follow this particular rule. So that is the use of RDBMS, and that is the basically that is the criteria, or that is the path that RDBMS follows to save your data or allow some transaction on your data. Now the second category is NoSQL. NoSQL is just the opposite of RDBMS. In a way, it is opposite of RDBMS. Why? Because NoSQL, it gives up the ACID property so that it can enhance your query performance, and it can allow a little scalability to your data. So it gives up the ACID property, so NoSQL will not follow, or it will not adhere to the ACID property. Now, since it does not adhere to the ACID property, it gives you the flexibility to work with unstructured data. So there can be case where you don't define any schema, or you don't have to define a schema previously or prior to the data coming into your system. For example, you can consider a case of a catalog, like you have Flipkart and Amazon catalog. So a same catalog can contain your clothing line as well as your electronics line. Now the definition of any item as part of your clothing line will be different from an electronic item, or for that matter from your shoes or anything. So your catalog will give you a lot of options, like you can buy shoes, you can buy clothes, you can buy electronics like mobile computer, all those things, and each of these will have their own definition. Because when you have to store a mobile phone, so when you store a mobile phone, mobile will have its own property, like what is the size of the screen, what is the memory, what is the storage, all those things, what is the processor size or processor speed, all those things will define a mobile phone. Now as compared to this, if you have a washing machine, it will have its own property, like what is the size of the or the capacity of the washing machine, what is the power wattage of a washing machine. But these two can go into the same catalog. So it means that there is no fixed schema, still the same table is containing the data for both these things or both these items. So that is how the unstructured data will be handled by NoSQL. Now the second biggest strength that NoSQL database provides us is that these can be run on a commodity hardware. So you don't require a big system or a monolithic kind of system to do your processing. So your data can be distributed among commodity hardware, and it can be scaled horizontally. So this is one of the strength of NoSQL. Now even NoSQL, it is divided into multiple categories in itself. The first one is the document. So you have a document store. Again, the example is the one which I told earlier, where you have a catalog. So it can be, you can imagine it like a actual catalog book, where you have the book as the table, and each page of that book will define one entity. Now each page can contain different items which will have different specification. So it does not adhere to a particular kind of schema, but it can basically store files like JSON or a BSON, which is the binary JSON. So it can store those kind of things, and good example for this is a MongoDB. Now the second category is a columnar database. Now columnar database is just the pivot of your RDBMS table. So rather than storing the data in a table row wise, here you store your data column wise. So if I give an example here, if suppose you have a employee table, where you have an employee ID 1, employee name as suppose ABC, and suppose the salary is 100 rupees, and you have second row where you have employee ID as 2, and then BCD is the employee name, and the salary is 1000 rupees. So this is how you will store the data in a row in RDBMS, where you store the data row wise. Now if you have to store the same data in column, so what you do is you store 1 and 2 first, then you store the employee name column, the second one, which is ABC, and comma BCD, which is BC and D, and finally you will store the salary, which is 100 and then 1000. So basically for each of the row, it is divided into column wise. So all the data of one kind of column will reside together, whereas the same data from each row, like this one is, all these three are from the same row, but they might not reside together. So that is how columnar database will store your data. Now what is the benefit of having the data of one column together? So this can be really helpful when you are running a query on certain set of column, like on one column or two column, or suppose if you want to run some aggregation on a column. So that time you can pick up everything from here, from since all the data are stored together. So picking the data and running aggregation on that particular set of column will be really easy, and it will be really faster. So if you have a scenario like that, then columnar database will be the way to go for you. Now the next one is your key value pair. So this one is a simple kind of database. It is just like a map where you have a key and a value. Now the key can be a simple integer key, and the value can be a blob kind of thing, where you can store complex data type or data structure, or even you can store like an image or a small video, that kind of thing. So a common example for the common example of columnar database was like Cassandra or HBase. For Keybase, it will be Redis or Memcache, which can basically work as a cache for you. And the final category of NoSQL database is a graph database. So this graph database is generally used in a place where you have to do some relation between the nodes and the vertex. So if you have to map, like for example, if you have Facebook or LinkedIn, where there is a friend and you have to search for the network of the friend that is present for me. Like for me, if I have like 5 friends, those 5 friends can have another 5-10 friends. So if you have to deal with that kind of structure, so then you can basically use a graph database. So these are the common category of the database which are present. Now next thing that we will look into is the common mistake that we do, or what is the mistake that we make when we are in a system design interview, and we need to discuss about the database that we are going to use in building our application. So suppose the requirement is that I have to deal with a large data set of 5 terabyte. So uh, in this particular scenario, if interviewer asks you that what database that you are going to use, in this case you have to deal with 5 terabyte of data, and suppose you say that okay, since the data size is very huge, processing will be huge, so I will go with NoSQL cluster in any of the NoSQL, because that way I will be able to make my query run faster. So let me tell you here, this will be the wrong answer, because NoSQL, yes, it can run commodity hardware and it can do processing faster, but it's not that your RDBMS cannot do similar things. So you should not underestimate the power of RDBMS when it comes to structured data. So if your data is structured, even if it's like 5 terabyte of data, it's okay, because currently there are so many applications which are running in production, like YouTube, you have Instagram. They are basically running on top of these RDBMS database only. They use database like Postgres or MySQL. I think even Netflix uses that. Now these company mainly use NoSQL or even Hadoop for their analytical purpose, but to serve the business purpose, most of the organization they use RDBMS itself. So we should never underestimate the power of RDBMS, and we should never make this mistake while when our interview is going on, to say that since the data size is big, I will go for NoSQL, because that way the interviewer will know that you are just throwing the buzzwords at him, and he might not be such a fool that he will accept that answer. So, what will be the correct answer, or what will be the way to go to handle the situation and to come up with the correct answer about which database to choose for our application? So, how do we choose our database? In this particular scenario, or when we are dealing in this interview, or even if you have to actually come up with a system design in your organization and you want to decide which database to choose, the first thing and the only thing that you should focus on is what is your problem, or what is the requirement of the system, what is it that you want to handle. So the first question that you have to answer is the data that you are dealing with, is it structured data? If it is structured data, then in most of the cases your problem will be solved by an RDBMS. Even if the data size is very huge, if it is like 5 terabyte also, it's okay. 5 to 10 terabyte, it's pretty much okay. For structured data, there will be a very slight scenario where you will look towards a NoSQL database, but in most of the cases it will be handled by RDBMS. Only thing is you need to have a proper database design. You should not have a bad database design where you create view on top of some function and all those things, and it is like a nested function. So if you have a clean database design where you have proper table, proper indexes, proper primary key and foreign key, then your RDBMS will be able to handle most of the queries perfectly fine. So you can tune all those queries. There are a lot of features that RDBMS provide. You should never worry about big chunk of data. If it is structured, RDBMS will handle it. Now the next thing is, what happens if your data is not structured? So if your data is not structured, in that particular case you have to think what is the problem that you need to solve now. Your data, you know that your data is not structured, but what kind of data are you dealing with? Is your unstructured data like a catalog, like we talked about earlier when we discussed about the document database? If it is a unstructured data and that data is in the form of JSON or complex objects, then maybe one way to go is you use document based database. But you should not stop here. The next question that you have to ask is, what is it that you are willing to sacrifice? Now you know about the CAP theorem. There is a video that I made on the CAP theorem also. Link is there in the description. It's there in the card also on top. So if you are dealing with unstructured data and you know your data will come in the form of JSON now, so here the question that you have to answer is, out of your consistency, availability and partition tolerance, which one is the least priority for you, which can, without which you can live? So if suppose you have an unstructured data and you are okay with eventual consistency, so I mean your system should be highly available, it should be partition tolerant, and eventual consistency is fine. So if that is the case, then there can be a set of database which you can use. Otherwise, you can have a scenario where your database, your data is unstructured, but you want the data, you want all the transaction or data that is coming to your system. It should be consistent. You can live with availability. If the system goes down for certain time, you are okay, but it should be partition tolerant also. So if you have scenario like this, there can be a second set of databases which you can use. Now here you should not be afraid while discussing this with your interviewer, because there can be a chance where you don't know which database is present in the market which will serve this purpose, but you know your problem and how you can solve it. So you know you need a database which should handle unstructured data, and it should for example, let's take an example where you are okay with eventual consistency, and you can let go of availability, and you should have a system which is partition tolerant. So in this particular scenario, you can say that okay, I can use MongoDB here, but suppose you did not know which database is present, you can always tell your interviewer that I need a database which can serve this purpose, where which can deal with unstructured data, which can give me consistency or eventual consistency, and it should give me partition tolerance also. So even if you don't know the name of the database, I don't think that that can be a showstopper. Rather than that, if you bluntly say that okay, since it is unstructured, I will use MongoDB, that can become a showstopper for you, because the interviewer knows that you don't have in-depth knowledge of tackling this problem. You don't know what all problems can come in future when you are dealing with the kind of system you are supposed to design. But in case you know what is the kind of system you are dealing with, and you know what is the challenge, or what is the that one requirement you are willing to sacrifice, that tells a lot about your knowledge on the system. And uh, database, you can always do market research and find the name of a database, or there are a lot of organizations, they have their inbuilt database which they build internally, because they know which problem they are going to solve with that particular database or with their application. Now the second kind of requirement, suppose the answer for first one is no, which means that you don't know what you don't have the database which will deal with this catalog kind of thing. But the problem here is that you need to perform a lot of aggregation on the data that is coming for you. Now aggregation will be performed on certain set of column. So this is where columnar database will come into picture. Sorry. Now for columnar database, doing aggregation will again, it will be really fast, and it will be a good choice. And especially if you are coming with a system where you have to create a data lake, or you have to perform a read heavy operation, for example, like you have Instagram or Twitter kind of system, where there are a lot of reads, and you are performing analytics also, where you are doing a lot of aggregation on huge set of data. So that is where your columnar database will come into picture. And again, for this particular scenario, you will have the same question, what I'm willing to sacrifice. Now for the columnar database also, uh, you can basically have an application where you need consistency, or you can have a system where you have to live with uh, high availability. So let's take an example where you can let go of consistency and have your availability and partition tolerance. So a classic example can be any social media site like Twitter or Instagram or Facebook. So what happens is, like, if suppose someone makes a post and the friend of that particular person is not able to see the post for a certain duration of time, like 5 minutes or 10 minutes, it will not be a problem. But if suppose all those person are not able to see anything, or not able to log into their system, or whenever they are trying to query, they are getting uh, an error. So in these kind of scenario, the user experience will be really bad, because social media platform, these are based on the these basically get their revenue from ad or whatever it is. It's mostly based with user interaction and how much time a user spend on their platform. So if the availability of the system is not there, the user experience will be bad. So in this particular scenario, you can basically let go of consistency, and you will live with availability and partition tolerance. Now for this set of condition, you can basically go for Cassandra database, which will give you this feature. Now, why Cassandra gives is because it does not have a master slave concept when it comes to node. So it has multiple master, and that is why it will be able to give you that benefit. Now, suppose we take the second condition where we require consistency. Now, this example comes from a case where you have to build a data lake in your organization. So if you have to build a data lake, uh, here you need to have a consistent system. The reason being, suppose if you updated a table and there are some downstream system which wants to pull data from your table, and what happens is, suppose one system pulls up one set of data and another downstream system it pulls another set of data because of inconsistency, or since one of the node was not updated properly. What can happen is, at the end of the day, if they have to aggregate among themselves, or if those two system talks to themselves regarding some other formula or some other report they are working on, so there can be inconsistency in the data. But here what can happen is that even if the application goes down for a minute or 2 minutes, it's okay, as long as all the systems are getting the data correctly, we are fine with this kind of system. So here we need a CP case, which is the system should be consistent and partition tolerant. So we can choose HBase kind of database here, because HBase it works on a single region server where all the read and write it is channeled through single region server, and if it goes down, then the region server will be moved to some other region server. So you have to basically discuss all these problem, and you have to think about these kind of problem, like what is the need of my system that I am designing, whether I want this structured data, unstructured data, consistent or availability or partition tolerance. So for each step you have to answer all these questions. Now the third set of question that we have to answer is, if suppose our data is unstructured, we don't want to perform any aggregation on this data, we don't want to give up a catalog kind of system, but we want quick lookup. So what it means is, if I have if I want to query, I want the response to be really fast, it should be in a matter of milliseconds. So here key value will come into picture, which is your Redis or Memcache, which are generally used as cache databases. So what it does is, it will store your data as part of key and value. So key will be, it can be a string, or it can be an object, or it can be integer, it can be anything like that, and the value can be a blob kind of thing where you have a big complex data structure, or it can be another key value, or it can be a picture or a small video, that kind of thing. But this will perform quick lookups for you. Now when you choose this, again you have to answer the same thing. Now okay, you want to have a quick lookup of data, but what is it that you want to sacrifice here? Do you want your data to be consistent, or do you want availability, or do you want a partition data? Now if you have a distributed system, then if you want a consistent system, you have to give up one of the availability or partition tolerance. In case of NoSQL, partition tolerance will always be there, so generally you will deal with either consistency or availability. You have to lose one of these two. So if you, same thing goes for your cache. So if you have a cache, so do you really want your cache to be highly available? Again, the same example will work here. If you are putting a cache on top of your social media site, it's okay to show some old response as compared to showing nothing. And if you are putting a cache in your data lake, then in that particular scenario you need to have a quick lookup and the data should be consistent. So these questions should be answered. And finally, when you are doing a map object which is related to your graph database, so these are the things which you have to basically answer, and these are the things which you have to ask your interviewer, or you have to discuss with your interviewer, or in case you are designing the system for your organization. So these things should be answered before you come to the conclusion about which database to choose. So I hope the video or this explanation was really clear, and I hope going forward, if you have to choose a database, it will become little easier for you. So when you are going for an interview in that scenario, or even if you are working in an organization, it will be a good practice if you can basically know about few database, like a database which is consistent and available, the set of database which are consistent and partition tolerant, and set of database which are highly available and partition tolerant. So what are the set of database that you have the option of when you have to design a system which will utilize one of these two property. So that is it for this particular video. Hope it was informative. Do let me know in the comments section if I missed something or if you want me to add something else. So that's it for this video. See you in the next one. Take care. Bye.